Hi guys, welcome back to Eight-Legged Babes. Today you guys are going to get to see me rehouse my Grammostola actaeon, or my Brazilian Woolly Black Tarantula. This is actually one of the species I picked up at the New England Reptile Expo in Manchester about, I want to say 3 weeks ago. So the footage you're seeing is actually the day after that expo when I picked her up. I kind of decided to expedite getting her rehoused just because the enclosure I bought her in was just a really small deli cup, and she was bigger than I actually had planned on her being when I saw that her species was going to be available. So I kind of ordered some stuff that I needed, got it in the next day, and just got her set up in a new enclosure. So today what you guys are going to see is me walking through how I set up my DIY enclosures, because this is actually one of the first DIY enclosures for a juvenile tarantula that I've done. And you'll get to see me rehousing her in said enclosure. So I hope you enjoy. So this is me putting Sharpie points all around the edges of the lid of the enclosure. This is where I'm going to make ventilation holes. I'm going to do the exact same thing around both sides of the enclosure as well. I'll be sure to link the type of Tupperware that I use for the enclosures. They actually work really well. This is my first time trying them, and I'm pretty happy with them. I ordered like a bulk size, so I have some more just as my teas very slowly grow up. And here, this is the soldering iron that I use to create ventilation holes. I'll be sure to link it in the description below. It's just the most basic one you can get off Amazon. I did not need anything fancy, and I'm also not a welder, so all I needed was a point-shaped item that got really hot to melt plastic. On that note, be sure if you do this method to wear proper PPE. I wear an N95 mask, I have a vent running, and I have windows open when I do this. Even that's really not good enough, but it's the best safety measures I can take while doing this. So as you see, I just methodically go around the edges of the enclosure. As I'm pulling my hand off screen, you'll notice that I'm doing that periodically. It's just to wipe with a wet paper towel. I want to pull off the melted plastic as I go, mostly because I don't want it to build up and create, you know, just like melted plastic around the edges of the holes on the enclosure. But I also don't want to leave burning plastic on the soldering iron all the time. So I just want to consistently wipe it off. And that's just me showing how hot and which parts of the soldering iron get hot for anyone who chooses to use this method. You will end up accidentally burning yourself. Just get ready for that. Also, on the lid, I want to go back and mention that after I finalized this enclosure, got it set up, got the spider moved in, I checked it a couple days later and I noticed that it was not drying out as quickly as I wanted. It was holding on to a little too much moisture and there was a little bit of mold growth. So I actually went back and added a second round of ventilation holes on the lid, and that seems to have done the trick. So this is just me doing the exact same thing on the sides of the enclosure, just methodically going through. You'll notice that I have the holes kind of up high. That's because this is a terrestrial species. I want to give her plenty of substrate to dig in. And really the only part of the enclosure that's going to have airflow is going to be at the very top. So that is why I'm not having them further down. And from here, this is where I'm going to start actually setting up the enclosure. So this is me using Reptisoil. Again, that is my go-to substrate. I have to, again, shout out Tarantula Cat. She's the one that actually, in her videos, mentioned it. It's what I've been using. It works great. It holds on to moisture for species that need a little bit of moisture, and it dries out nicely for species that don't. So this is me just using distilled water to hydrate the substrate a little bit. I want the lower layers to have some moisture so that she can dig down to them if she needs to, but I don't want it to be soaked. So I'm kind of spraying it a little bit, mixing her around, and kind of testing it as I go. And this is after I've added in all the substrate I want, and I'm gonna start building in her hide. So I used a piece of cork bark that I broke off as her hide. And what I'm doing here is I actually wedge it in so it's secure. I really don't want it to move. I don't want it to have a chance to fall on her. And then I'm digging out underneath to go ahead and create a starter hide for her, which you'll see later in the video once I actually show you how the enclosure has turned out. she's adopted almost immediately. And from here, this is just me kind of securing in the cork. Again, I really want to make sure the dirt is packed down well so that she can burrow in it if she wants, and that her hide and the ledge on top isn't going anywhere. It's not going to fall on her. It's going to stay where I want it. And this is just me kind of checking to see humidity layers, make sure that lower layers of dirt are humid enough, and make sure that there's enough space for her to dig, but not too much space where if she does decide to like try and climb up the side, she can fall and hurt herself. Finally, this is going to be me adding in some leaf litter. I've mentioned before, all of my leaf litter I actually collect here. I'm in New England, so in the fall it's like leaf heaven, so I collect as many as I can and sanitize them myself and then have them for most of the year. And then in the background, you'll see I'm hydrating a chunk of frog moss. This is going to go on top of her hide just as a nice little bit of decoration. It holds humidity really well. It's really pretty, and I just tend to use it in most enclosures. And finally, her water dish. Okay, so this is you guys are getting kind of the final cut of me moving her into her enclosure. We ended up going with the scoop method after about 5 minutes of her really not moving out of the cup, and also me having a lot of issues with the substrate in the cup wanting to fall on her. That being said, she still didn't really want to go in the enclosure, so you guys do get to see me play kind of like a merry-go-round with this tarantula for a couple seconds. I will say, for what was not a super smooth rehousing, she was an angel. Even when my hands shook like that, which I want to reiterate, my hands shake when I'm anxious, and I get very anxious when I'm holding my spiders because they're so delicate. I'm not afraid of them. They're so delicate. I'm terrified I'll hurt them. So, anyways, we got her in. She's fine. She's safe. She was an angel the whole time. I'm very impressed with her. And this is her in her new enclosure. Now, in a couple seconds, you guys will get to see how she's doing in the enclosure now, about 3 weeks out from when I moved her in. So now that we've gone through the footage of my enclosure setup and getting her rehoused, let's go ahead and see if we can get her on camera today. Now, I want to warn you guys, she has been a pretty shy species since I got her, so it's not likely that we'll see her today, but let's go try just in case. Okay, so let's go ahead and see how she's doing. Okay, so this is her enclosure now. As you can see, I added a ton more ventilation holes, which actually has worked out great because I was getting a little bit of mold over in that corner around the frog moss, and now that I've added the ventilation, it's gone. As you can see, she's already done quite a bit of webbing work in what's really not a very long time. And unfortunately, she is almost impossible to see down there. She has dug out her burrow even more and created essentially just this web curtain. But what I can do is we can try and feed her and see how that goes. So let me get set up for that really quick. Okay, let's see. She is interested in a mealworm. I tried to feed her a couple days ago and she ended up ignoring me and then threat posing me. So if I'm being honest, I'm not super hopeful. Yeah, I'm not seeing any movement in there. Okay, let's see if we can get a shot of her with the light on. You can just barely make her out in there. Yeah, I'm sorry guys, I wish we had a better shot of her, but she's just kind of been a shyer species for me, which is fine. She seems really happy in there, and I really don't want to stress her out. So you can see towards the back is her red rump that's really kind of infamous on this species of Grammostola, and then you can just make out her eyes up there at the front. Okay, we'll leave you alone, sweet girl. That is going to do it for us today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you really enjoyed the video. Be sure to like and subscribe and follow me on Instagram at 8-Legged Babes if you want to see more shorts, reels, and still shots. Have a great rest of your day.